You think that we don't got love for Will Anderson?
I thought y'all did.
Will Anderson is our guy.
No, I thought he was. I thought he was too until I started hearing y'all talking. Until I started hearing how y'all talk about this free agency thing, man. I thought y'all liked Will Anderson.
Who do you think
I thought y'all wanted Will Anderson to be great. I mean, y'all do, right? Don't y'all want Will Anderson to not just stat pad and get a bunch of sacks, but to be making plays and meaningful games and stuff like that? Don't y'all want that?
Dang straight.
Then why don't y'all want to surround him with no talent?
Who said we don't?
Why don't y'all care about surrounding Will Anderson with great players the way y'all want to do with C.J. Stroud? I just don't get it. I mean, I thought that y'all wanted Will Anderson to succeed, but based off of the conversations I've been hearing y'all have, Landry doesn't want to pay Jonathan Gennard or Christian Wilkins. You don't seem too high on Christian Wilkins. Like, I just want to know where the great players along the defensive line supposed to come from. Is it the draft? Are y'all into these Robinson cats in the draft? I mean, I know I advocated for Grover Stewart, but I don't think that that's the answer to unlock the Will Anderson potential. I don't know, man. If it's not Jonathan Gennard or Christian Wilkins around Will Anderson.
I think there's a natural increase in talent by himself as well as Christian Harris and Derek Stingley. I think the offense can help the defense. I think there's better opportunity on offense, and I trust their evaluation. I trust Nick Caserio to not have to pick the outfit on the mannequin in front of Nordstrom. I trust him to be able to find some quality and not just the shiniest item. And I also want a complete team. I'm not just focused on Will Anderson. I think Will Anderson's naturally going to be great, and I also think that maybe this is just I don't think this is even picking and choosing, but like when we talk about free agency and the dangers of free agency, the worst contracts look like what Christian Wilkins is going to get. They just do. They just look like that. Like the defensive lineman on the second contract, 28 years old. That just seems like what those contracts look like.
But see, I don't feel like you can generalize it and put it in a box and say, hey, this is what these contracts look like, because my thought on the Christian Wilkins thing is very specific to your situation. Like a lot of teams will sign a guy like a Christian Wilkins or a bad contract like that, and they don't have this very specific scenario that you have where you got the quarterback on the rookie deal on the one side, but then specifically on defense, your cornerstone pieces are still on their rookie deals. I know Derek Stingley, that question is going to come up a year from now, or we'll see even if that comes up during the season. But you've got 2, maybe even 3 if you count Christian Harris, of these guys, your best defensive players, all cheap. And from the very top, the youngest, and Will Anderson. And so to me, a great way of looking at trying to unlock Will Anderson, and I expect him to be great singularly no matter who he plays with, but having another double-digit sack guy on the other side of you, on the other end, or a guy like Christian Wilkins, who I will acknowledge, like we'll agree on this, he's not Jeffrey Simmons, and that's where I'm kind of with you on the hesitation. I do understand. He's not Jeffrey Simmons. He's not Chris Jones. He's not Aaron Donald, obviously, but he's somewhere right below that, like just a cut below that. And I think something like that, paying a guy like that in a very specific scenario where Will Anderson is still cheap, at least one more year of Derek Stingley still being cheap, I think that's a space where you can afford to throw money in that specific direction.
Here's my answer to you coming into our house and telling everybody afterwards that you don't like the way we have our furniture. Got
to move some stuff around, man.
You've been to my house.
Got to be ready to move some stuff around.
When you left my house?
No, your furniture at your house is actually great. I wouldn't mind y'all coming over and helping me fix my stuff up. But that's another discussion.
Here's my answer to that. Number one, you get there with C.J. Stroud. You get there with C.J. Stroud.
I'm not going to push back on that.
So you have to surround him with every single piece that you possibly can. Number two, two of the strongest positions in the draft are cornerback and edge rusher. I think it's wide receiver, cornerback, and edge. Cornerbacks are going to – I think there was 8 in the top 40 that I looked at the other day. So you can fortify a little bit via the draft. The third thing is from the start has said safety, guys, safety. And everybody's looking elsewhere. I think if you get a big-time Justin Simmons kind of safety,
Scott was in on the safety thing before Simmons even got cut.
Yeah, you were, and I was too. Yeah. And then the fourth thing is, I think this is the most important one, and this is where Landry falls. You say he's not Aaron Donald, he's not Jeffrey Simmons, he's not what was the other one, Chris Jones.
Right.
So don't pay him like him. because you're going to have to pay him like one of those guys.
Yeah, I get that.
That's
part.
overpaying.
Yeah, I get the idea that it's overpaying, but I think it's not because of your specific situation. I really think that you kind of made the case for Christian Wilkins specifically, just the fact that you can go get corners. There's a market for corners. There's a market for edge, and then also like this whole safety thing. All of these cap casualties. I feel like you can get one of these safeties for cheap. Basically everything is either cheap or something that you can get in the draft, except defensive tackle. And to me, like
I'm so disappointed in you.
Nah, man. I think
I can't even stress how disappointed I am.
I'm disappointed in you. I thought you liked Will Anderson. Apparently, you just wanted to go out there and carry the defensive line. Who is the above average player on the defensive line that's going to play with Will Anderson?
Look, I don't know. I have no idea. I just don't. I don't want to overpay, one. But I don't want to overpay Christian Wilkins. It's just not me. And I went on this rant last night on the stream, Locker Room on YouTube. Went on this rant yesterday on the stream because I didn't expect this from you. I expected this from someone that had like a screen name and like a hidden identity.
Those people, so I can see that.
I've gotten this from Sean. I've got like, why are you people, and I'm talking about you, Sean, people on the stream, why are y'all acting like me and Lopez are sitting here and it's like a schoolyard style pick, the draft, where Christian Wilkins is lined up, Saquon Barkley is lined up, and we're saying, hey, we'll take Saquon. I still might do it, by the way, but that's not what we're doing. Like it cost a lot more to get Christian Wilkins than Saquon Barkley or some of these receivers and all that. So it's not like people like Saquon's not even in the same range.
But see, that's not what I'm doing. And matter of fact,
you're talking about offensive guys,
and I'm also really supporting you. I think the fact that you can get Saquon for a reasonable price, the fact that the running back position has been devalued, the safety position has been devalued. You've got all these other positions that have been devalued. What's the correction? Where's the math going to fit on the other side? Hey, you get Saquon Barkley for cheap. He's a great player, and you can pay him $11 million. Then, you might have to overpay for a defensive tackle who, you might think it's an overpay, but can impact the game, can wreck the game, especially playing alongside Will Anderson. So, to me, you got to make up for it somewhere, and defensive tackle might be where it's at. You're getting your wide receiver maybe out of the draft. Who knows? Adonai Mitchell might turn out to be a Pro Bowl level wide receiver next year. You get him for a first round pick. And you might have to overpay a little bit for a defensive tackle. But if it has that impact, if it turns Will Anderson from a Pro Bowl player or a Pro Bowl alternate or whatever he was to an all pro, if it helps him.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't like the best case scenario of Christian Wilkins is he gets better every year. He continues to improve each year, and you're paying. It ends up looking like a bargain. That's like the best case scenario.
I think I like that getting Christian Wilkins doesn't stop you from getting Saquon. Which you know what I'm saying?
That's the most obvious thing about it. Like, that's
so like back to Lopez's point from weeks ago when everybody was trying to make it seem like you just wanted to spend all the money in the y'all were checking me on this on a show that I was doing, I think with Sean. He's like, man, remember y'all was saying you could sign Saquon and Mike Evans. Yeah. All right, well, no, you can't now. Mike Evans, but you could sign Saquon and a Christian Wilkins and start filling things, filling everything else along the margins in other ways.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I just want to. I also have like a big trust in the way they do things. Like I think the thing that I like the most about Nick Caserio is his thought process, where they're able to find guys and maximize what they get out of them, like Steven Nelson. Hopefully he's gone now. And then they're able to, let the market play out, and they get Sheldon Rankins or Dalton Schultz. Like I like the way that
I was going to go.
I like the way that they evaluate things. And I like the work they put into it. And I just, if they put the work in on Christian Wilkins and they feel like it's appropriate, cool. But I also just trust them, like whether it's a Chase Young, have Chase Young use us, figure it out. You mentioned Stewart. There's just a lot of organization when it comes to just like diving in and really.
And it's similar to with Saquon, where like I think we all want Saquon or acknowledge Saquon would be the best offensive weapon that they could add. But it doesn't have to be Saquon. It doesn't have to be Christian Wilkins. That's the part that I like about it. Like I was always just not going to be in the business of saying no to the very good to great players.
Right.
The best players on the market for the Texans to be in this position. I couldn't find myself to just outright say no to any of them, knowing damn well that you can't get all of them.
Exactly.
Mike Evans goes off the board. Who knows if they're going to be able to get Saquon Barkley. I want them to come out of here with something.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the players at the top of the board, the top of the market, should all be guys that the Texans are interested in.
My thing is, with Christian Wilkins, I've said it a million times, I wouldn't be opposed to it if they sign him. How do you guys feel about Sheldon Rankins, though? We really haven't talked that much. I get he's
Next.
No.
Come on, Landry.
I get that he's not Christian Wilkins.
Next.
I get that he's not Christian Wilkins, but he's one of your own guys, which Nick Caserio has said, I want to worry about our own guys next. He's made some plays. Pro Football Focus has him ranked 4 spots behind Christian Wilkins. Wilkins is 3rd on the free agent market.
Don't mention Pro Football
He's
Focus.
4th.
They have Tua.
Well, I understand
They have
that.
Tua 56 ahead of CJ.
I understand. And his market value is half, literally half of what Wilkins.
I don't hate Rankins, but I want it.
Yeah.
I want it to be similar to what it was last year. If it's going to be,
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you this, Sheldon Rankins ended up being I thought Robert Woods would be. The veteran presence, but is also
He's a hard
highly
man.
productive.
he's like a firm hard
for half as much.
For half as much, and then also like the respect. I know this maybe is
half
the
as
last
much
thing.
as Wilkins.
As Wilkins, yes.
Yeah, and this is maybe the last thing we think about, but the respect and the like he's one of those dudes.
Yeah. Oh, he's the guy.
He's one of those dudes in the locker room.
And
Like I
respect
would not
on this damn
I-
show.
man, I
I
would
ain't
not-
asking you about anything, sir. We're sticking the ball.
To be honest, he scared us.
He had me sticking to football. If you want to talk about how scared that is,
We were afraid of him.
Yeah, no, he's
I
got
was
a level of
respectful. I wasn't
focus.
afraid. I just was.
You were a little
Nah.
afraid. You were.
Nah, he's one of those dudes. He's definitely one of those dudes. But you think about it's a great point though, because you're either bringing him back, but the replacement for Sheldon Rankins, like, don't forget the reason why you went out and got Sheldon Rankins in the first damn place. It was because you were past the point of where it could be a Roy Lopez, Kurt Hinish type of situation. You needed to level up. You're bringing in DeMeco Ryans, trying to become a serious team. Now you're even more serious than that. So it's like you got to either bring that dude back or level up. So we're having one conversation or the other. It's either Sheldon Rankins or something along those lines, or Grover Stewart like I've talked about, or go out there and just sign Christian Wilkins, pay that money you can afford to do it right now. You're not just some schmuck team that spends bad money on just, you name it, defensive tackle. And I bet you it looked bad when the Bengals did it when they signed DJ Reader, but we see how that worked out when they had a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Yeah, but DJ was still kind of a bargain. He wasn't like.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, like, he was a free agent defensive tackle signing on a team that had a rookie quarterback with some young pieces to it.
Yeah, I think I would be more encouraged, like, if the Texans signed some D tackle and it's like, wow, that guy got that. Like, that's how much I trust him right now. Like the 6th-rate D tackle or something like that, and they like overpay him and they like him enough to where I'm just like, damn, they must really know something. That maybe that's just kind of like how much I've started to trust him.
Yeah.
Another position that is appealing right now is safety.
Yeah.
And I wonder this because the safety market right now, it's absolutely bananas. Justin Simmons is on the market. I won't mention Jamal Adams. Jordan Poyer, Kevin Byard, Quandre Diggs, Rayshawn Jenkins, Eddie Jackson, they're all on the market. So much like the running backs, the safety market is very, very, very steep, and it's a position where you're not paying $20 million for elite guys. You're probably paying less than 10 at this point. Are we sure? Because I feel like when we talk about safeties, there's like it's like you're trying to put together a puzzle, and it's like you can just throw these pieces to the side or you can throw them away. Like Jimmy Ward at this point in his career, we love Jimmy. And Jalen Petrie, with what we've seen from him in 2 years, should not be enough to prevent you to get one of these safeties if you think they're good, not fit with this trio.
Yes.
That is not enough for you to ignore the opportunity to upgrade. Like, if Jalen Petrie has to be a situational player and maybe even play some special teams and maybe improve, then so be it.
Yeah.
You're not that married to Jalen Petrie.
Let me ask y'all this. Put it to you this way. All right, so we named the names. Justin Simmons, Jordan Poyer, Kevin Byard, Quandre Diggs, Rayshon Jenkins, Eddie Jackson, and you didn't want to mention Jamal Adams. Let's just throw them in there for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to add Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward to this list, where would they rank? Because I have an idea.
I don't know that Petrie would rank.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I said nowhere higher than, like, for Petrie, nowhere higher than that. And look, I like Jalen Petrie a lot. I still, I'm biased in Jalen Petrie's favor, if I'm honest about it. But if he was on this list, he would be somewhere around 4th or 5th. He wouldn't be ahead of Jordan Poyer, ahead of Justin Simmons, ahead of Quandre Diggs. I wouldn't put him ahead of Eddie Jackson or Kevin Byard either. So,
yeah.
I mean, that puts into perspective what we're talking about.
And that's the reason why I've been so adamant about it.
The guys that are available, and then we know Jimmy Ward, there's, like, I don't know where he would be on this list, but he could probably save you some money if you cut him. Like, to me, you got to think about the fact that the guys on this list, almost all of them would be an upgrade from your current situation.
I feel like I'm blinded. Like, I feel like we're blinded, and I'm part of it, because when you look at this list of safety, God, maybe these guys are declining. And I heard the guys breaking it down this morning, and they're like, well, Jordan Poyer, his play kind of fell off. If Jalen Petrie were 30 years old and he put on tape the season that he did last year,
exactly,
you would say this guy's washed up and doesn't belong in the league. So I do think we need to take that into account. I know he's younger, but if these guys are declining, what is Jalen Petrie? And the other thing is this. This is something else I don't think people are talking about. What was the biggest – you were there, B.Scott. What was the biggest debate? We're getting you your Zach Brown tickets in a sec. What was the biggest debate between Jimmy Ward and D'Amico Ryans that they kind of joked about and went back and forth about before the season last year?
Whether he played nickel.
At this point in his career, with Jimmy Ward not being able to stay on the field, with everything that happened, do you think maybe he might be more willing to move around a little bit?
Yeah, I think he should be.
He's always been willing. He's in preference.
Well, yeah. Willing is not the issue. It's the preference, and I would imagine that the preference is still not to do it.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, now there's a specific need there. Like, there is a need there. You're being paid handsomely.
We're damn good.
Exactly.
We can get places.
Exactly, and especially if you can get ahead of it. Like, he didn't like playing nickel in the middle of the like in the middle of the season, kind of having to switch up. But if that's the plan from the beginning, I think we're having a different conversation. So it's a maybe.